When you think about a video game and beauty, what comes to mind? Is it the colorful world of Super Mario? Is it the detailed world of Red Dead Redemption 2? The wastelands of Fallout 4? The jungles of Crash Bandicoot? Well, all of those are all valid answers. But today I wanted to talk about something that I've never seen spoken about in today's sort of age of gaming. A lot of games these days are complex with expansive stories and insane graphics, transporting you to a wide and expansive world. These games are some of the best and are spoken about a lot on the internet. These games are amazing, but today class we'll be talking about another amazing thing: simplicity. A game doesn't have to be complex to be great, and today that's what we are talking about. The beauty in simplicity. So we need an example to break down if we're going to do this right. Now, some people would talk about Minecraft, but I won't, and I'll explain why later. Instead, today, I thought I'd use Superhot as an example, as it was released in 2016, but it's still burnt into my mind all these years later. The game is simple in design and concept, yet it's unique and memorable. So let's break it down. Oh, and like the basic YouTuber I am, if you want to help me out and you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe and like this video? If you don't know what Superhot is, it was originally created as an entry for the 2013 7-day FPS challenge, which was a challenge for independent indie developers to create a game within the time frame of 7 days. Thus, Superhot was created, the demo at least, and it gained significant attention, leading the team to fund the full game via Kickstarter. So, now that you got a little bit of background, let's get into it. Superhot's gameplay is simplistic in nature. The whole game is based on the fact that time only moves when you move. It's a simple concept, but easy to understand. It allows players to focus their attention on strategy, as well as dodging and weaving. The simplicity of the game also allowed the developers to put their attention somewhere else, and allowed them to perfect their movement system. Every punch, swing, and jump is satisfying and enjoyable. It doesn't go the route of having health bars or multiple objectives. There's no massive world to explore, and there is only two main goals: survive and destroy your enemies. The benefit of a simple game is the ease at which someone can pick it up. The learning curve is not too much of a challenge and is easy for new players to understand. Although it is simple to start playing, that doesn't mean it's easy. The game goes off a traditional level system, and the higher levels are not a walk through a park, and will take you a few attempts to figure out what's the best way to proceed. It may be traditional, but it works. Especially for people who have never played a video game before, it's a good starting point, and is a great introduction to games in general. Now I hear you say, what about the story? See, a lot of people think simple means that the story isn't going to be good, and sure, sometimes that is true, but that's not always the case. Despite its minimalistic design, Superhot can invoke some interesting feelings. The game does have a story, one which invokes a sense of mystery, and it doesn't just shove it down your throat. The game starts with the players at their computer getting a message from a friend saying that they have found the most innovative shooter that they have played in years. You start to play the game, and after 5 levels you get locked down. It is then hinted at that there is more going on and you need a password, and then your friend gives it to you. After another 5 levels, you get kicked down again, and you just go to message your friend, but some red text flashes on the screen. And then the things that you type to tell your friend changes without your input. This leads to your friend being annoyed at you, basically. You then have a chat with the mysterious red text, and you have to promise to not play the game anymore. And if you go to continue playing, the red text will stop you. You have to quit the actual game and return to continue playing. The game tells you it could keep you there if it wanted to. After a few more levels, you can message your friend again, but all you do is repeat the words "super hot" until your final message saying you want to go back into the game. The next time you play, eventually you get repeating text that says, "Mind is software, bodies are disposable. The system will set you free." After a few story notes, you eventually upload your brain, and you then shoot a version of yourself, finalizing the upload. You are now an AI, and you're instructed to lure more people to play the game. Overall, the game is a virus that wants to take over the player's mind, and the text popping up is the developers trying to stop you from playing and falling victim. I remember when I first played, I felt some actual unease and wasn't too sure, but was invested in the story. The game, in a way, is a psychological horror filled with mystery, as there are plenty of unanswered questions. It's a perfect example that a simple doesn't have to be boring. Some of the greatest games are simple. Just look at Firewatch, for example. Gameplay wise, it's simple, but that doesn't mean the story has to be bad or boring. And if the story's not really your thing, that's perfectly okay, because a lot of people go to this game for the gameplay. The game uses minimalistic visuals to create a distinct aesthetic, one that is iconic and easily recognizable when you see it. The stark contrast of the red enemies against the white environment is striking and draws focus to the core gameplay rather than the extenuous details. The use of red for enemies as well kind of activates that part in our monkey brains that humans associate with danger. The red also highlights that they are the enemies. It's just another thing that pushes you forward, as in most games, red is used to signify who's a target. The simplicity of this also makes it very easy to focus on your goal, as there are no other distractions in the world. However, when you do look at the world you are in, it's actually very diverse and represents a lot of real-world places, whether this be a subway or a prison or a corporate building. This also brings up questions on why you are in these locations, causing chaos basically. The reason why simple games are beautiful is for the fact that they are nearly timeless. It's so easy to get into them as there's not much to understand. You can get someone who has never played a game in their life and they could probably pick it up with ease. These games aren't held down by trends or overcomplicated mechanics, so they remain enjoyable over the years. I mean, Superhot's just a recent example of this. But just think about Super Mario Bros, Tetris, Pac-Man, they're all loved despite being decades old now. And a lot of that has to do with its simplicity. That's the beauty of games like these. See, games like Grand Theft Auto and Far Cry, they look great at the time. However, as graphics improve, they can start to look a little outdated. This is the reason why that when you go back and revisit games you played as a child, and you remember them looking amazing, it never really lives up to your memory. However, with games like Superhot, there isn't much stress with this issue, as the game is meant to be simple, and its appeal isn't the colorful and bright world. A perfect example of this is also Minecraft. Minecraft, when it came out, was a simple premise. There's a bunch of blocks, and you can build whatever you want with them. This concept is so simple to comprehend with limitless potential, anyone could play Minecraft and it wouldn't be a hassle. That was the case anyways. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Limitations spark creativity for the designers and the players. Simplicity of a game encourages players to be creative to find a solution, whether this be using a katana to cut open bullets or repeatedly using bottles as cover. Or you swap bodies with an enemy, but before you do that, you throw them a gun so you can catch it in midair once you make it to the other person's body. It's simple, but not limiting. This also applies to developers. Humans are talented, and if you put one in a box with limited resources, in a lot of cases they'll find a creative way to solve a problem, or to entertain themselves. Being forced to follow set rules allows people to find ways to bend them to their will. And that's where some of the greatest things are created. Another amazing thing about simple games is that they're very easy to expand on. For example, the gameplay that you might have noticed in the background hasn't just been Superhot, it has been Superhot Mind Control Delete as well. A sequel that introduced new mechanics, allowing you to unlock other special abilities basically. The sequel did incorporate a lot of new things, but it did kind of take away from its simplicity at times. However, it demonstrates how you can expand upon something so simple. Another example of this is Superhot VR. The game being so simple in structure made it very easy for the developers to transfer it over to VR. It was one of the first VR games I played, and it was great. It is such a simple concept that they had no issue importing it over, and it works fantastically, unlike some other AAA games that have tried it. But here is the problem. Expansion isn't always great. For instance, Minecraft. I recently went back to Minecraft, and although it's still a great game, it has definitely lost its simplicity. There's so much that has been added to the game that it feels very different from what it used to be like. There's been so much that's been added to the game that's very hard coming in from an outside perspective to kind of understand what I'm meant to do. It isn't a game that you can just hop on and start playing and learn as you go. A lot of the times, if you want to learn something or figure something out, you have to use the internet to find out what you actually are meant to do, as finding out things naturally isn't easy. It used to be a simple game that you could pick up and just do your own thing, and you didn't have to kind of learn how to play. And sure, you can still do that, but it's just not the same feeling anymore. That's my personal opinion, however. Superhot is a perfect example of how a game doesn't need insane mechanics or a massive world to make a lasting impact. Its minimalistic design, simple mechanics, and captivating psychological narrative all works together to create an unforgettable experience. While it may not have the depth of modern AAA games, Superhot shows that sometimes less is more. Whether it's through its accessibility, emotional impact, or timeless designs, Superhot proves that simplicity can be just as engaging and thought-provoking as anything more complex. It's a reminder that most memorable games don't need to be the most complicated ones. So next time you see something that looks simple, don't hate it till you try it. Who knows, you might find a game that wormed its way into your head that years later you had to make a video about it. Hi, it's Cameron Jack here. If you like this video, why not check out one of my other videos? And if you really enjoyed it, why not subscribe? This video is definitely on the shorter side of most of my other videos. However, you can only talk about something so simple for so long. Besides all that basic YouTuber stuff, thank you again for the recent support on the latest videos. It means a lot to me, more than you'll ever know. But whether I see you again or not, remember, stay safe, live life to the fullest, and peace.